guys, it's Meg and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be answering a few questions that you guys sent in to me via my Instagram and Facebook stories. Most of these are pregnancy related questions or birth related or postpartum related. I'm just gonna get straight into it because Finn's having his afternoon nap and you never know when they're gonna wake up. Sometimes he can have a long nap, sometimes he'll have a really short nap. Sometimes he'll just have a decent nap. So I kind of try to put these questions sort of in order, like pregnancy, birth, postpartum. First question is, were you planning on falling pregnant or did it just happen? So we were actually planning. We decided that we wanted to have a baby. I think it was, I'm getting teary thinking about this. Oh my gosh. Okay, I actually chose to wear mascara and now I'm crying. It was actually on Ty's birthday in December of 2019. We went out clubbing and we went down to one of the playgrounds, and I think I was the one that's, I don't know, I was pretty drunk this night. And I think I was the one that said, can we make a baby? Not can we have a baby, can we make a baby? Obviously Ty agreed and we were like, all right, let's have a baby. I was on birth control, I was taking the pill and I'd been on it for a couple of years. I obviously stopped taking the pill. Everyone's body reacts to coming off the pill differently. Some people get their periods straight away after, some don't get it till like a year, 2 years after. Like, it all depends on your body. No person has the same reaction. My thinking was, you know, we'll start trying, I'll go off the pill, we'll start trying straight away, because I don't know when my body's gonna go back to normal. But yeah, so that was the start of December. I did get a period at the start of January last year, but I don't think it was a proper period. And then I went 2 months without a period. Kind of got excited that I might have been pregnant, but all the home pregnancy tests that I did were negative. So I ended up going to the doctors and got a blood test done, and that came back negative as well. And then I got a period in March of last year. Then we conceived in April, and when we found out, I was 5 weeks pregnant. So yeah, we were planning it. It didn't just happen, we were planning it. Did you get that line down your belly? No, I didn't. So that is basically caused by your abs sort of separating. I can't remember exactly what it's called. There is a name for it. But I never got that line, so yeah, I don't know. They say most of the time like it does fade or it does go away, but again, I don't have to worry about it because I didn't get it. Might get it next time. Each pregnancy is different. Again, you never know. I was prepared to get it because most women that I've seen that have been pregnant have gotten it, so I was sort of like, oh yeah, I'll probably get it, but I never got it. What was your birth plan and were you able to stick to it? Also, what pain relief did you use? I didn't really have a birth plan. I kind of just didn't want to use pain relief if I didn't have to. Obviously going into it first time, you don't know what you're in for. Again, every labor is different. So one labor could be super easy, you might not need pain relief, and then the next one might be so excruciating that you need an epidural. I kind of just went into it thinking I don't really want to have pain relief. I'm gonna keep an open mind, like if I need it, I need it. It's not the end of the world. My biggest thing was I didn't want an epidural. Yeah, I don't know, I just didn't want one. But again, going into it with an open mind, if it was that painful that I needed to have one, then that was what was gonna happen. What pain relief that I did actually end up using was just the gas. They tried to put the TENS machine on me, but it didn't help, did not work. Within like the first minute of them having it on me, I was like, get it off. I was laboring in the front. I think if I had been laboring in the back, the TENS machine might have helped because it like sort of sends like shocks. It was on my belly and I was having the contractions, like it was all in the front, and then having these shocks sort of sent through my stomach. It was like, ugh, just not very pleasant. So yeah, I was like, please just get it off. Like, it was not helping. So then I had the gas. Oh no, I don't know whether I honestly can't remember if I had the gas or the TENS machine first. I think I might have tried the gas first, and it I think it was what made me vomit, but then they gave me that stuff that stops you from vomiting, and then I was fine. I had the gas, and then I ended up getting into the shower, and I was sitting on a gym ball in the shower. I'll post a photo here. It's a very vulnerable photo. It's probably one of the most vulnerable photos I've ever had taken of me. Ty was sitting next to me in the bathroom. I'm getting teary just remembering what that day was like. So my waters were broken at 8:30. I had my first contraction, I think it was around 9 o'clock. I labored for 8 hours. My contractions, basically from the get-go, I was having 5 to 6 contractions every 10 minutes. Like, they were lasting about 40, 50 seconds. And then I'd get like half a minute's worth of break, and then another contraction would hit. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever been through. The gas really did help though, but if I didn't suck on the gas at the right time, I would feel the whole contraction. I think I was in the shower for about 3 hours, I want to say, and then I was basically flooding the shower because where I found comfortable was basically right over the top of one of the drains. So we unblocked one of the other drains on the other side to let water go through there, so that way I could try and stay in like that side, otherwise I would have moved, but it didn't work. And then the midwife swapped over. The new midwife came in for her shift. She was like, all right, like, you're gonna have to move. Like, it's like if we've all got to rush in here, or if doctors have to rush in here, it's not safe, obviously. So then I had to move. And as soon as I moved, the pain, I couldn't deal with it. And I said to her, like, I tried to deal with it for like another, I think 10 or 20 minutes, but it was just so painful. And I'm gonna have to continue this later because Finn's just started crying. Okay, so I just watched my footage back to figure out where I was up to with my story. The pain, I moved and the pain was so bad. I think, yeah, it was around 10 or 20 minutes that I tried to deal with it. And then I said to my midwife, Nicole, I was like, what are the chances of getting an epidural? Like, I was in that much pain that I was like, I just wanted to stop. Like, I need it to stop. I'm getting quite teary. It's an insanely emotional experience. Like, it's beautiful, but it is so painful. So my platelets were kind of all over the place, and were low and then were high, and then not high, but like were back okay, and then they'd go down again or whatever. So they had to take a blood test to make sure that everything was okay, if they were going to do an epidural. And then I also had to get examined to see how dilated I was, as to whether I was going to be able to have an epidural, because the cutoff for an epidural is 7 centimeters. So I got out of the shower, got onto the bed, she took my blood, did my check, and I was between 5 and 6 centimeters. My bloods came back probably like maybe an hour later, and then I think it was not long after they came back that I was ready to push. And then I think I was pushing for half an hour, and then his head was out. Because I know some of you are probably gonna ask, like, what does it feel like? Honestly, it's undescribable. It is the most painful feeling, but then when you get the urge to push, it's almost relieving in a way. Like, it's painful, but it's relieving. Like, I'd much rather feel the urge to push than the contraction. As soon as his head was out, the pain just stopped, and then the relief of like the body following the head is just, it is literally indescribable. It's crazy. It is the craziest, most incredible, most excruciating experience you can ever go through. Alrighty, so that was my labor story, which was another question that I got. What would you do differently next time around labor and newborn wise? I can't really think of anything newborn wise, but labor wise, I reckon eat more before I go in. I don't even remember what I ate. I know I had a hash brown. My sister brought in one of those, oh, it was like a popcorn bar, and I think that's all I ate the entire day. And I think I had an apple juice, and I think that was it until after I gave birth. And then I had a couple pieces of toast and a hot Milo. I think after giving birth, next time, because they supply ice packs for your region, which is great, but I felt too awkward to get out of bed. I literally only asked for 2 Panadols. I didn't even ask for like Nurofen or like anything stronger. I was just like, yep, just give me 2 Panadols, I'll be right. Which, I mean, I wasn't in that much pain, but the ice packs definitely would have helped with the swelling. How was Ty during delivery, and how did he handle all of your changes during pregnancy, body, tiredness, etc.? Ty during delivery, he was really good. He was a massive support. Even just being there with me, like I said, he was in the shower with me for those couple hours. The only time he wasn't in there with me was when he had lunch. He went out and ate his lunch and then came back in when I was pushing, I think, or like having the contractions and getting the urges to push. He was like telling me like, just breathe, you're okay, just breathe. How did he handle my changes during pregnancy? That's probably more of a question for him. I don't really know what his thought process was. He didn't treat me any different to how he did when I wasn't pregnant. He still found me attractive, like I was carrying his baby. I think it honestly made me more attractive to him, the fact that I was carrying our child. Like, you know, like you already love each other, but there's just that different kind of love. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really asked him what his thought process was with all the different changes and stuff, so I don't know. Did you keep your placenta? No, I didn't. I actually didn't think that I was even gonna look at my placenta. But then when the midwife asked if I wanted to look at it, I was like, oh yeah, okay, might as well. So she showed it to me, flipped it back the right way, because when it comes out, it's like inside out. She flipped it back the right way. It was interesting to look at and see, you know, what was attached in there. And then like, obviously Bub was in the sack. What was your recovery process like, and how many weeks postpartum are you now? So at the moment I am 10 weeks postpartum. When you guys see this, I will be 11 weeks postpartum. I mainly just had swelling down there for maybe about a week. It wasn't bad, but it was like noticeable. I couldn't sit down without an ice pack, maybe 1 to 2 weeks. I could go to the toilet fine to do number ones. It's like basically straight after. It wasn't too stingy. I only came out of it with 2 grazes and very minimal blood loss. So I think I only lost about 100 mils of blood. Are you breastfeeding, bottle feeding, or both? So I was breastfeeding, I think I was 2 weeks postpartum, so he was 2 weeks old, and then I think we introduced the bottle, like formula. He had had a bottle previously as to that, as I had expressed, and he just had my milk from the bottle. I was just getting too hot. Just the feeding time is so long. When it is so hot, it's so uncomfortable. And plus, if he was getting a bottle, it meant that I got a little bit of help as well from Ty, or literally anyone. Like if we went to someone else's house, like they could give him a bottle if they wanted. So we started mixed feeding after about 2 weeks. And then I think up until he was 7 weeks, I was breastfeeding, and then I just decided, nah, I can't do it anymore. He started getting fussy as well because he was getting used to the bottle. He would get frustrated with not being able to get the milk as fast and having to work for it instead of it just coming out of the bottle. So yeah, so now we are just bottle feeding, which is fine. He gets everything that he needs. Doesn't matter, you know, whether it's breast milk or formula, fed is best. How are you handling life after pregnancy? Because I cry all the time. It gets like that. It honestly does, it gets like that. The first few weeks, I would literally find myself crying over the stupidest things. I'd literally look at him and I would start crying. Just from being like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Like, I can't believe you came out of me. Like, that's insane. Yeah, so I would cry over that, and I'd cry from being like tired. Yeah, it's a whole new ball game. Like, you cry literally all the time, and that's okay. It's totally normal. I still, to this day, don't cry near as much as what I did, but I still have my days where I just break down and I cry. Even thinking about it now, I'm like getting teary. So, you know, it is totally normal. I think the best advice for that is to just feel your emotions. Allow yourself to feel, whether it's sad, happy, you know, blessed, in love. I think, you know, the most important is to acknowledge how you're feeling, but try not to stay in that for too long, but allow yourself to feel your feelings. How am I coping though? I mean, I think I'm coping pretty well considering, you know, there are so many changes that you have to adjust to, new things, new routines, and once you get used to, you know, doing things a certain way and having Bub do certain things at certain times, he then goes through another growth spurt and things change again. It's like every 2-3 weeks it changes again. It's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of adjusting, it's exhausting, but it is really rewarding. You know, there are definitely days where, you know, I get frustrated. You know, no one likes waking up to, you know, sudden crying, or, you know, basically just waking up when you don't want to wake up, when you're not ready to wake up. So it is a lot to adjust to when you've got a screaming, crying baby next to you, and all of a sudden at 2 o'clock in the morning they start crying and you get startled. Like, it's not fun. You get used to it, but it's not fun. It is what it is. Finn's started sleeping through the night now. It might change. He might not sleep through the night forever. Who knows? I think emotionally I'm doing okay. I'm actually doing better than what I thought I would be. I have dealt with depression and anxiety in the past, but I know, you know, what tools work for me to get past that. I used to be so anxious about taking Finn out by myself, and now whenever I need to go out, I don't get upset, I don't get anxious, because I know that it's gonna be fine. The first time I took him out by myself, he started crying and I was like, oh no, like people are gonna look at me, they're gonna think I'm a bad mom. And now I'm like, babies cry. People understand that babies cry. It's fine. It's normal. People don't think that you're a bad parent just because your baby starts crying. Like, if you're in the middle of the shopping center and your baby starts crying, you know, it can be one of 3 things. They either need changing, they need a feed, or they're tired. Babies cry. It's a normal thing. That's the only way they can communicate, and people know that. So don't stress about whether your bub's gonna cry. People, like, they hear the cry and they look, but they don't judge, I guess. At least that's what I've found anyway. Are you guys planning on having any more babies? For the moment, not right now. If Ty had it his way, I would probably be pregnant again. I don't want to be pregnant again just yet. As much as I enjoyed it, I did, but towards the end it's like, I just want my own body back. I just want to be able to sleep, even though, like, after you have the baby, you don't get to just sleep. You don't get woken up by being kicked in the ribs. Said you get woken up by crying, but it's different. As for if we want any more, we want 1 more, which I think we'll probably start trying just after Finn turns 2, or maybe try and wait a little bit after, maybe, because when will Finn be 2? 2023. So I reckon if we start trying halfway through 2023, because I kind of don't want to fall pregnant at the same time as what I did last time, because I don't want to be heavily pregnant during summer again. It was like the worst thing ever. At the time, I didn't think I had much fluid or much swelling, but when I look back on photos, I'm like, wow. And then that way, when the next baby's born, Finn will be around 3, which I think is a good age. And then if we just happen to fall pregnant a 3rd time, that's what happens. I don't, like, I kind of just want 2, and I think Ty just wants 2. But if it were to happen and we were to have a 3rd, like, it wouldn't be the end of the world, it wouldn't be a bad thing. What has been the hardest thing to adjust to after being pregnant / giving birth? I'm gonna start crying. The hardest thing has been trying to find myself again and trying to feel like myself again. I've been trying to find and do things that I enjoy. And it's one of the main reasons why I started making videos again, because I know that that's something that I love to do. Go back to my roots, go back to doing things that I know I love. And it's another reason why I've started my fitness journey, so I can lose, you know, just that little bit of the baby weight that is left. I know I'm so blessed with how quickly the weight has come off. Like, I'm so blessed, and I would never want to rub it in anyone's face about how quickly I lost the weight. Obviously, breastfeeding, when I first had Finn, the weight kind of just came off really quickly. I've only got, I think, 5 kilos, just over 5 kilos till my pre-pregnancy weight. I don't really want to get down to that weight though. I kind of just want to get down to 60 and then possibly build muscle and like build up my weight in muscle, but we'll see what happens there. But as well as to lose that weight, I also just want to be confident in myself and feel good with how I look. Like, I know I'm gonna have stretched skin probably for the rest of my life, and that's fine. My body did an amazing thing, which is mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I was used to being so small before I fell pregnant, and then going through pregnancy, like up until I think I was like maybe 22 weeks or so, I didn't love my body because I just looked like I'd had a big lunch. I didn't look pregnant yet. And then once I got to about 22, maybe 23 weeks, my belly kind of popped and you could actually tell that I was pregnant. And then after I had him, obviously not pregnant anymore, I still had this extra weight and the saggy skin, the saggy boobs, you know, now I've got one boob that's more saggy than the other and it's smaller than the other, and I've got mum boobs. It's whatever. Like, coming to terms with those things has probably been the hardest thing, but I've come to terms with them and I'm like, it is what it is. Like, I'm a mum, but then at the same time, I'm not just a mum. When I first had Finn, it was like, it's all about the baby, which is, you know, how it should be, but I felt like I was just a mum, and I'm like, I don't want to be just a mum. Like, being a mum is the biggest blessing in the world, but I still want to go out and have fun. I'm 21. I still want to go out and have fun. I want to go out to the park. I want to go to the beach. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like, yes, I can do that with Finn, of course. You know, sometimes I've just got to go out and do things for myself. The other day, I went for a walk for the first time since having Finn by myself, and I just walked and I listened to a podcast. Because normally when I take Finn, I don't listen to music or listen to a podcast because I'm like, I don't want to, you know, accidentally get distracted and then like bump the pram on something or whatever. So I was actually able to like kind of zone out and just listen to this podcast. Even though when I go and I do actually have me time, all I can think about is Finn and if he's okay. It's always going to be in the back of your mind, but it's not like the thing that I'm focusing on in that moment. So yeah, so I think those two are definitely the biggest things that I've had to adjust to. Also, last question is there any wedding talk? So Ty and I got engaged 17th of December 2019. So we've been engaged for over a year now. Personally, I don't see us getting married for at least another few years. We might try and aim it for when Finn's 2, and then that way we can get married before we start trying for another baby. Would be probably the smart way to work it, but I'm not sure yet. We haven't really worked it out. I'd much rather pay off more of our house than spend more money on a wedding. Alrighty guys, that is the end of this week's video. I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you did, remember to give this video a big thumbs up. Also leave a comment down below. Maybe tell me what you guys want to see in a future video, and don't forget to click that subscribe button and turn on my post notification bell so you don't miss an upload. I will see you all next time. Mwah! Bye!